Hey chickies! Okay, today we are doing the long-awaited All About brushes, and I'm also doing an Arizona tea nails at the end. This is really long, so I'm sorry in advance. I really hope you like it. Let's get into it. Now first up is my Pure Color 10 brush from the Stylish Nail Art Shop. Again, all the details will be in the description box. This brush I love so much. It is the only brush I'm currently using for really fine detail work. It didn't come to me this fine, but it was very fine when it did come to me. I did cut it down just a smidge, but not very much, by using the cuticle snippers, which I don't use to cut my cuticles. I use it to cut brushes down. But yeah, this is my go-to brush. Now this brush was my go-to brush before I cut down the Pure Color 10. This is the JN Dance 24 Detailer brush, which is also from Stylish Nail Art. I have two of these because I wanted one spare, which is really OCD, I suppose. But I really, really love this brush, and it is really good, and I can't fault it. I really can't. Although I do use the Pure Color 10 a lot, this one is also my second favorite brush. Then I have the very first brush I bought from Stylish Nail Art Shop, which is the Edinburgh Realism brush. I've used it so much that you can't even see the writing. There's two sides to it. One's a small detail brush and the other is a medium striper brush. This is a really good brush, and I actually use this when I'm using polish to paint with. And then I have another two brushes from the Stylish Nail Art Shop. Yes, I have bought a lot of brushes from her. She's also sent me some free sample brushes as well. This is the Edinburgh Realism, another Edinburgh Realism brush. It is the E116 Sable ER050. It's got a wooden handle. They're really, really nice. Now, I haven't cut these down, but they both are, one's slightly thicker than the other, and I'm not sure why that is. I think it just happens sometimes. You purchase the same brush and the brushes on them are actually a little bit different. The next up we have a fan brush. These are really cheap on eBay. They usually come in like those sets of brushes along with the long striper brushes and a heap of others, but you can buy these on eBay so cheaply. I will put links down in the description box so you can see where to go and get these sorts of things as well. The striper brush is really great for doing a waterfall mani. Now these two brushes I would generally use for one stroke. It's a small angled brush and a square flat brush. These are the kinds of brushes you need for one stroke. I don't do it very often, but I need to practice so I can get better at it. These I bought just from a general craft store. One's a Montmartre and the other one is a Neef. I don't even know. I've never heard of those brands before, but yeah, they're actually really good. And now these three brushes I got from the nail shop in Australia. They sent them to me as a sample. There's a long striper brush, a medium fine detail brush, and then a tiny fine detail brush. I haven't used them yet, but I'm going to very shortly, and I'll let you know how I go with them. Now these next three brushes are very well worn. I bought these from the Winstonia store. Again, links will be in the description box. They're very cheap. I think it was $4.95 for a set of three, and I would almost exclusively use those when painting with polish because they are so cheap and easy to replace, and I don't mind using acetone on them or anything like that. So that's what I would use those for. And sometimes I've used the other end for a really big dotting tool because they're quite thick at the end. The next brush is this long angled brush. I got this from a craft store. I used it to create the watermelon seeds. I quite like this brush, but it was just from a local craft store. The next one isn't a brush, it's a nail art ink nib pen, which you can use to create really fine details, only you need special paint for this. You need to use acrylic ink, not acrylic craft paint, because it needs to be very liquidy. I have tried to use it using really watered down acrylic craft paint, but it just doesn't work as well. So this Liquitex ink is really good. All of the paints that I use are non-toxic, by the way, so yeah, it's actually quite a cool little thing. Next thing I want to talk about is dotting tools. I know they're not brushes, but I get a lot of questions about dotting tools. This is the only set of dotting tools I've ever bought. I bought it about 3 years ago on eBay. It cost me like literally $5, and you basically get 10 dotting tools. each end is a different size dotting tool. And I mean, as I said, you can use the other end of a paintbrush, but if you want to get a set of dotting tools, just go on eBay or Amazon. I'll put some links in the description box, but they're just, I can't live without them. Now, this dotting tool, you've probably seen me use quite a bit. It's from the nail shop in Australia. They sent it to me for nothing, and I really like it. Next up, we have cleanup brushes. This, I think, if you've watched any of my videos, I always say Revlon and good eyeshadow brush, and I do love these. Last time that I went to go and get another one, they were out of stock. They tend to last me a couple of months before they start to really fray, and then I just put them away. I don't throw them out. I don't throw anything out. So in the end, I ended up buying an e.l.f. small angled brush. I know that some people have had the bristles fall out, but it hasn't happened to me so far, and I've been using it for maybe a week and a half, so we'll see. It's got a really stiff brush, and I really like that because it gives me a lot more control. I don't like the price. It's $8, but then the angled Revlon eyeshadow brush is $9, so anyway, I've got this other one on eBay as well. It's got a dotting tool on one end and a brush on the other. Not happy about how flexible it is, but it does do the job. It does a fine job. Now, the next thing I want to show you is how to cut down a brush. Now, this brush came in a set. It was really cheap, and it's nothing fancy. And I'm just going to use some cuticle snippers. I'm going to show you how to cut down a brush and make it into a fine detail brush, and then we're going to do nail art with it. Now, the thing to remember when cutting down a brush is less is more. Once you've cut it off, you can't put it back. So very small amounts at a time, and roll the brush in your fingers. So keep turning it around each time you're going to brush so that you're not cutting from one edge only. So you want to keep going, turning it around and around, and cutting tiny little bits out of the brush at a time. Brush down to the size that you want. You might want to snip very end, but snip it on an angle so when you put your brush in some paint, you're going to get a really fine point. You've got your brush down to the size that you want to condition it before you use it. I use cuticle oil, but you can use olive oil or avocado oil or something like that. So just put some oil onto the very tip of the brush and then roll it between your fingers, between your thumb and your index finger, until you get to a point, and then just put it up with the brush facing upwards into maybe a glass or something like that, and just leave it for maybe an hour or two. Okay, so now after a couple of hours of your brush resting, you can start to use it. We're going to do some Arizona tea nails. I've got China Glaze's 2 Yacht to handle on all of my nails, and then I've added a coat of I&M Nails Out the Door matte top coat because we're using acrylic craft paint. For the Arizona tea nails, we're going to start by using our fine detail brush, our custom-made fine detail brush, and create some branches. Once you have your branches done, you can see from the bottle of the Arizona tea that the branches have these little knobbly bits. So just put some random little knobbly bits on your branches. Next up, we're going to use some acrylic paint to create the little blossoms on the branches. I'm using 3 different types of pink and a little bit of white, not very much. Now the pink that I'm using is a metallic rose. It's called Metallic Rose from the Folk Art acrylic paint company. I've had it for years and completely forgot that I had it, but it is absolutely perfect for this. And as you can see, I'm coming in with the darker colour first, then the lighter colour, and kind of mixing it on the nail rather than mixing it on the palette. You can put as many blossoms on your branches as you like, it's completely up to you. And once you have your blossoms, you want to come in with a little bit more black acrylic paint and just put a little bit of detail in the middle of each of those flowers. Isn't the brush working well? I'm very impressed. Don't forget to seal your beautiful design with a good quality top coat. I'm using Seche Vite as per usual. And that's it. I really hope you like this one. I'm sorry it's so long. Now I just wanted to mention something about cleaning brushes, which I didn't mention in the video. For using acrylic craft paint, you can just clean them out with water, or you can use isopropyl alcohol as well. If you're using polish, I would recommend that you clean them with acetone, but after every cleaning you should really condition them using some sort of oil like cuticle oil. Also always store them with the brush facing up, never down. Now if there's any other questions you have, if I haven't covered anything, please put all of your questions down in the comments box below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye chickies. Oh, and thank you for subscribing, and thanks for that delicious thumbs up. Bye.